Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Brad from B&B Cosplay, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this really cool project.
Lord Megatron, come in, Megatron. Shockwave to Megatron.
Alright, so a few years back, I made that Shockwave helmet. And as I was making it, I wanted to make it as realistic as I could to the cartoons. And Shockwave, for those of you who don't know, was a Decepticon that when he speaks, his eyeball lights up to his voice. And I thought, I really want to do that. So the first place I went to find out how to do that was YouTube. I came across this awesome video from Bill Duran over at Punish Props Academy. And basically what he did was he used a kid's toy, this kid's megaphone toy, and put it inside of a project that he was working on, and it did exactly the same thing. The lights lit up to the voice, and the voice changed. And that was exactly what I was looking for. So the toy he used was this kid's megaphone toy that when you speak into it, it changes your voice, and these lights light up, which is exactly what I needed for Shockwave. The cool thing about this is it's cheap. I got this about $15 on Amazon, and it's really easy to work on. And yeah, I'm actually going to drop some Amazon affiliate links down in the description below. So remember, when you click on those, and if you actually purchase through my Amazon affiliate links, you're directly supporting me, and I really appreciate it. It allows me to keep making these videos for you, which I really love to do, and help you out with your own projects. So if you'd like to help support me in any way, click those Amazon affiliate links and purchase through there. I'd really appreciate it. Well, let's stop wasting time, and let's bring this in and show you what I did. All right, let's go over the tools. We're gonna need wire strippers, cutters. It doesn't matter if it's a combination. It really all depends on what kind of butt connectors or wire connectors you're gonna be using. I like to go with these precision diagonal nose cutters. It makes it easier to cut some of these little tiny wires that you're gonna see inside of the toy. You're gonna need a Phillips head screwdriver, smaller Phillips head screwdriver to be able to take this toy apart. We're going to need a hot glue gun. If you're going to be using some sort of a switch to turn it on and off, you'll need to include that as well. Unless you plan on using the lights that are already attached to the toy, you're going to need your own LED lights. So basically what I use here is I use these pre-wired LED lights. It has a resistor built in, so it operates off of 9-volt batteries. These are great. Now for connecting the wires together, this is going to be your option. I don't know what kind of a project you'll be running this with, how much space you're going to have. Each one of these will work just fine for you. You could go with the old cap crimpers. These are pretty easy. You just put your 2 wires inside of that and then crimp the end. You can use these double crimps. You can use this kind of a butt connector. You just put your wire on each side after it's stripped and then crimp that as well. And another really great way to do it is with heat shrinking tube. You just strip your wires, twist them together, and then slide this over it and heat it up. That works really well too. You need some sort of wiring, and I'm not going to say what your length should be or what the thickness should be. It's going to depend on the application again, what you're using this for, how far you need to run the wiring. I used a PB blaster cap, which is going to have the light go inside, and this is going to be Shockwave's eyeball when it lights up when it talks. And I'm going to use this piece of 1/4-inch foam as a backer and putting it into the back. And then lastly, you're going to need your toy. This toy is really cool. It has these switches on the side, and you can change the pitch and sound of your voice. Here's your trigger. These lights will light up when you talk into it. We're going to take this whole thing apart and use this for our Shockwave helmet. And on the package itself here, it actually shows you what types of position the switches need to be in to get what type of effect with the voice. First thing we need to do is take this apart. Okay, let's go and split this casing. We'll disconnect our battery and set that to the side. Pull our speaker out. What we're going to do before we go any further is we're going to add a little bit of hot glue to each one of these wires, so we're not pulling on these things and pulling them out of the soldering that they're already in. And all we're doing is just taking a little bit of hot glue and putting it at the base of each one of these wires. Okay, let's let that cool down for a second. But again, going back to these two screws, we'll go ahead and start taking these out. And these screws are just attaching the circuit board to the toy itself. Okay, our hot glue is dry, so we're going to go ahead and take this off. Now we got the screws out. These purple wires coming off of here going to the speaker. You can use the same speaker. If you have a different speaker, you use that. I'm going to be using the same speaker. So what we'll do is we'll take these two screws off to pull that speaker out of there. Set that to the side, and then our speaker should pull right out of that. We'll go to separate that. Now these wires here, these red and the black, are going to the lights that operate the lights on here. So when you speak, these light up with your voice. You can use these if you like, but I'm going to be changing the color to this single white light. So I'm going to be taking this off. So basically what I can do is just go ahead and I'm just going to snip this right here because I'm not going to be using this. We're going to be adding some extra length on these wires. We're going to be doing the speaker wires, the light wires, and the microphone wire. This one right here is going to be for your power. We're going to connect our on-off switch right here and here. Okay, since I'm going to be installing this switch, I actually almost forgot to add these two spade connectors, which are going to connect to my wires, and then they'll connect on the back of my switch. You can also solder. If you're any good at soldering, you can definitely do that. I'm not really too good at it, so I choose to use the crimpers. It's a little bit easier for somebody like me. Okay, once you have those, what I like to do is I'll take my precision hot glue gun and just squirt a little bit of hot glue into this connector just so that the wires can't pull out of there once I got it crimped. And then add our on-off switch just by inserting those spade bits onto the switch itself. Just like that. Now we're going to extend our wire for the lights so that it can fit inside of the helmet. And this length right here looks like it'd do pretty well for a build. Initially, I only planned to show you these wire connectors, but I figured since I have everything sitting out, I might as well take the time and just go ahead and show you how to use a couple other ways to connect your wires together. Make sure your wires are twisted together. Take your cap, put it on the end, and then just crimp that. Give it a tug. It's good. Okay, so both of those are all set. We're going to do our speaker wire next. Now, I do like to keep these wired the same way. So what we're going to do is we're just going to mark one of these with some black Sharpie, just so I make sure I'm connecting the same wire to the same wire. We'll go ahead and snip our speaker wire. Just make sure you've got enough of the marker on there. Strip off the plastic insulation that you could still see which one had it on there and which one didn't. Okay, I'm going to show you how the shrink wrap works on this one. Take a little piece, cut it in half, just twist that. The way I like to do my heat shrink then is I will take those wires, fold it back on to the wire with my heat shrink, slide my heat shrink down over those wires and get it centered up. Take the heat gun. And we're just going to heat this up until it shrinks around the wires. But that's how the heat shrink goes. I'm going to go ahead and do it on this other side too. So now our speaker wire has the extension on it. Go ahead and hook up our light. That's pretty much it as far as the wiring goes. I'm going to go ahead and hook the battery up. I'm not going to extend the speaker wire right now because it would basically look the same as everything else I already did. So we're just going to save a little bit of time. Flip our switch on. See, our light is lighting up. Oh man, you know what? Check it out. Look at this. Wire came off of the speaker. Okay, we're gonna have to fix that. And this is a perfect example of why we initially hot glued all those wires on a circuit board. So if this does happen, I'm going to show you how to solder this back on real quick. I'm not much of a soldering kind of guy, so I'm going to do my best here. For not soldering ever, because I'm just not really too good at it, can we just stop for a second and just look at that? I mean, I know I'm not good at soldering, but I can't believe I just did that. That's a proud moment right there for me. So don't ever avoid doing something because you don't think you're good at it, because I know I'm not good at soldering, but that just worked perfectly. So, okay, let's move on now. This is your setup. We have our circuit board, which is going to control the voice changing and the lights flashing. You got your wires coming off it to the speaker, which we just fixed. We just soldered that, so that shouldn't be a problem. We got our wire coming off for our light. So let's test this thing out. Let's power up. See, our light flashed. Hello, hello. Okay, so that works. Now, let's put this thing in with Shockwave's eyeball. And the way I do that is I'm just going to take this PB blaster cap, push down on here to get my size, grab my razor blade. I'm going to cut this circle out. Let's make sure it fits. Put a little slit in the center of this. Take our light, push it through until it clears, and then we're going to pull it back, seat it, and we're going to glue that down right there. See how it looks. Okay, see how that light there is very direct? We don't want that to be like that. I'm just going to have to diffuse that a little bit. Just put a dab of the hot glue on the end of this thing. Hot glue dries, it dries kind of opaque. If you could touch the glue a little bit just before it's 100% cool, and you can rough it up a little bit with your finger, you are actually going to get a little bit more of the light diffusing properties than you normally would with just the hot glue. So just be careful of this. Okay, let's try it out. It's looking pretty good. Once you have everything set and done, you can adjust the sound to whatever sound you want it to be. These speakers are not the best, so if you want something with a little bit more sound, a little bit more projectiveness to it, you're going to want to upgrade your speaker and don't use this thing. And of course, you can actually exclude either one of these things. If you just want to do the voice changer, you can. If you want just the lights to light up when you speak, you can do that as well. You don't have to do everything. This project is 100% customizable to anything you want or need for your cosplay. Oh, yep, and we're back. Well, hey, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe it gives you a good understanding of what you need to do for your next project or your current project if you want to add something with flashing lights when you talk or change your voice. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. You can always catch my current projects on Instagram or TikTok at BMBids, and you can also see me on Facebook at BMB Cosplay. Until next time, keep cosplaying and be safe.